So, I've had brain surgery.
Missing someone. Is as normal. Missing someone.
Does that look okay? See, one bit's too high and 2 bits is... what? Hi guys, welcome back to the video. So today I'm going to be filming a wee chit chat, get ready with me, talking to you about the fact that I've had brain surgery again. So yes, I have had brain surgery again, so I've decided I'm going to do a wee chit chat, get ready with me, answering your questions that you have, any questions about my brain surgery, and getting ready. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go with my Vitamin E Skincare Hydrating Mist. This is by Superdrug, I believe. But yes, I just spray that all over my face and then let it dry in. And choke myself. Also, quick side note, if you're wondering where my wee snooty is from, it's from Primark. They've come out with them. I got it in grey and pink. My fiance Josh bought me it. And he now wears the grey one and I wear the pink one. So, they're unreal. Okay, so next I'm going in with the Nivea Soft Moisturizer. This is what I use every time I do my makeup. I just apply this all over my face, and whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to basically explain what my surgery is in case any of you don't know. I have had a reoccurring situation where my brain just kind of gives up for a wee while and I have to have surgery on it to sort itself out. So basically what I have is something called hydrocephalus. I've actually discovered that it is something that is more common than what I thought it was when I first got it. It's basically where you have too much fluid in your brain. So you have fluid that surrounds your brain and I have too much of it. So I basically have a tube that goes from my head to my stomach that drains the fluid that I have too much of that's not supposed to be there. Oh, so yeah, it's a good time. And that little tube can get blocked. And it's blocked for me 4 times now. So that is what's happened to me again. The tube has got blocked, so I had to go get the surgery to basically unclog it. Normally what they do is they just take the tube out, replace a wee bit of it and put it back in, but since I've had it 4 times now, they basically took the whole tube out, replaced the tube and replaced the valve. Don't ask me what that is because I haven't a notion, but I'm just gonna sit here and be like I was when the doctors were talking to me about it, and I was sitting there like, yes, I totally know what the flip the valve is. Okay, so next I'm going to go in and do my eyebrows. First of all, I use the Anastasia Dip Brow in the shade Taupe. Then to carve my brows and set a base for my eyeshadow, I use the Peel Away's base in the shade 0.5. And then when I carve the outside of my brows, I use the Revolution Conceal and Define in C2. Okay, so I'm going to ask... okay, so I put up a Nicola, you're being very annoying and it's not okay. So can you sort it out, please? Thank you very much. Okay, so I actually put up like a question thing on Instagram to see if you wanted to know anything about my surgery, and I have actually had quite a few wee questions, so I'm going to answer them. The first one being, how are you feeling now and has recovery been okay? So, as I've said, obviously, I've had this surgery 4 times and now it kind of just doesn't really faze me. That is a horrible thing to be used to, and like for it not to faze you, like brain surgery, like it's a serious thing. But like it generally doesn't faze me whatsoever anymore. Like I've had this surgery 4 times, so I'm used to it by now, which is not a very nice thing to be used to. But like I literally said that I know for a fact it's going to end up happening again. Like obviously they've replaced the whole tube this time, so hopefully it won't. I'm praying that it doesn't, touch wood. That's my curtains. So as I said, I've kind of gave up on like hope, so to speak, on my shunt and stuff. Like obviously this has happened 4 times now, so I'm kind of used to it. So I'm just kind of sitting after each surgery being like, okay, that's another one done, when's the next one going to be, type of thing. Like when's my brain going to kind of like give up for a wee while. So yeah, that's my kind of opinion on it. Recovery's been as easy as it normally is. I don't really find recovery hard. Like literally the next day I'm like up and ready to go home, like, but they keep you in hospital for like 2 days, I think it is normally they keep me in for, just to make sure obviously you're okay, and that gives them time to like do CT scans and stuff like that to make sure all the fluids like drained out, like that you shouldn't have in and stuff like that. Recovery has been okay, nothing really different to any other time I've done it, just the difference is that each time I have this surgery, my mum gets more and more freaked out about it. Obviously, who the flip wouldn't be? Like, if their child goes in for pure brain surgery, like my mum like pure puts me on house arrest. I'm not allowed to leave the house. I'm not even allowed to like go to Josh's house and see his family, like, or anything. Josh is allowed to come here and see me, of course. Rachel, my friend, she actually came over and stuff to see me and brought me a wee presents and all. She's a wee cutie pie. Yeah, so like my mum like puts me on house arrest basically, so I'm not allowed to leave the house, not allowed to even take the dogs a walk. Like, it's that type of situation. So that's why recovery kind of annoys me a wee bit. Like, I feel fine after my surgery. Like, I'm ready to like go back to work. I'm ready to do this, this and this. And I feel fine, but mum kind of knows that I'm not. And obviously 2 weeks after your surgery is the time that it can most likely happen again. So that's why you have to be so careful after it. But I'm just, like I said, at the stage where I've gave up anyway. So if it happens, it happens. Do you know what I mean? But like, obviously I'd like to try and prevent it in any way I can. And my mum obviously doesn't want it to happen again. So that's why she's like a lot more cautious than I am. One of my eyebrows are thicker than the other. This one's thicker than this one. Like, no matter what, even without stuff like product in it. And it does my flipping head in because he's trying to make them even. So the next question is, how do you keep such a positive attitude? So I wouldn't say I keep a positive attitude, but I more just like brush it off. Like, I'm just like, yeah, it's happened again, over and done with. Like, I move on. Like, I don't really hold it against myself to be like, oh my word, like this is really scary. Like, the first time that's I was like obviously it terrified me, like, because like who the flip wouldn't be scared when they get told that they're about to have someone put a chip into their brain? Like, if you could tell me that wouldn't scare you, then you're lying. I'm sorry, but that's a lie. Yes, I just kind of think it's because I'm kind of like, after having it 4 times, I'm kind of like, right, okay, I know the situation, do you know what I mean? In all fairness, the second time and the third time it happened, which was in May and then 3 weeks later in April, so it was 3 weeks between those 2 surgeries. It was actually Josh who like figured out, because obviously Josh is with me 24/7, so he's obviously the one who notices it. Basically what happens is, if I'm like sleeping a lot, which like when I say sleeping a lot, I mean like 2 days in a row, like, which is obviously what I done those past couple of times, and Josh is like the first person to notice it because obviously he is with me all the time. Also, like, I can't hold a conversation with you, like I'll be slurring my words as if I'm a drunk person. So my family and Josh and stuff obviously know how to pick up on it now, which is good. The first time, obviously it took a lot more of like, they had no clue what was going on, and it took a lot more seeing doctors, going to private doctors, stuff like that. But now we know what to look out for and stuff. Well, when I say we, I don't mean me, because I have no idea what's going on. The past 3 surgeries, well, the second and third surgery, I woke up and I was in hospital after the surgery. I don't remember it, like the day before, I don't remember the 2 days before, I don't remember anything about it. I actually did collapse and I hit my head off our like tin bin, and it's like a really hard tin bin, and dented it, may I add, because my head's rock solid because I'm a pure beast. I don't recall anything that happened before those surgeries. The last one I had, which is the most recent one, I actually do remember parts of. Like, I literally remember lying in a bed, like lying in my hospital bed, and them about to sedate me, like them talking to me and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, what is going on? But yeah, so I wouldn't say I keep a positive attitude. I think it's just kind of like, I'm used to it by now, so I know what's going on, I know the situation. But each time that I do wake up in hospital, it's a new story of what happened the time before. Josh had like everything wrote down in his notes, and he had like Snapchat stuff that he saved and stuff of him like talking about it and like describing what was going on, like explaining it. So to answer your question, I wouldn't say I keep a positive attitude. I think it's just literally I've got over it now. Like, I understand that it happens. Like, I can't do anything to stop it. Like, if it gets clogged, it gets clogged. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I just kind of like brush it off, move on. I understand, yes, if I have it again, I have it again. If I don't, happy days. So the next question is, how did like it happen? I don't know if this means like the first time or the most recent time. The first time, obviously, nobody actually did know what was going on. We went to a ton of different doctors and they blamed it all on me being on the pill, so they just changed my pill a ton of times, which obviously really annoyed my family, especially when they figured out that it wasn't my pill. But the first time obviously was the worst, because that's when I like had 6 months of not knowing what it was. With hydrocephalus, people normally figure out, like doctors and stuff, obviously when they measure your head when you're born, that's when they normally figure out if you have something like that, because your head's normally like a weird shape because of the fluid in it. but for some reason mine didn't get figured out until I was 17, which is obviously when mine got really, really bad. That's when like the first time when I gained like a pile of weight and I like lost my memory. I was falling all the time, like my balance was terrible. But yeah, so that's simply what happened like the first time. This time around, I would actually be better having Josh here because I don't remember it, obviously. Josh did tell me that I was sleeping a lot, like I always do, and that's how he kind of caught on that like something was wrong. So he went and told my mum, and my mum was like, okay, we'll take her up to the doctors, we'll like see what's going on. And then they did, and they done like a CT scan, I'm guessing. I was like completely out of it, I didn't have a clue what was going on, but they done a CT scan and stuff, and that's when they realised like something was wrong. So they were like, oh, she needs the surgery again. And I'm guessing that's when they decided, well, she's had it 4 times, this will be the 4th time, so maybe we'll change it a wee bit and see if that helps. So a few of these questions are actually, why did you need to get it? Like, why did you need the surgery, and why have you had so many? Like I said, the tube that I do have obviously can get blocked, which is just what happened that time, like it got blocked. So they just needed to replace the tube. Sometimes they just replace, the past 2 times they just replaced a part of the tube, but obviously this time they replaced the whole tube. And I'm guessing it's because they want to see if it would make a difference, because obviously the shunt failed the past 2 times before that. So I think that's why. But yes, the reason why it happens so many times is simply just because it can get blocked. You go in, you get that wee bit replaced, and then you stay in hospital for like 2 days normally is when I stay in, and then they let me go home, but that's only if I'm okay. This time around I wasn't on any medication, like I was on like paracetamol and stuff the last time and all, because I was in like pain. Obviously the first time I was in a lot of pain because they had to like cut up my stomach as well as like my head. So my stomach was really sore anytime like I moved like from side to side. It was like agony pain, like it was really sore. So I was in hospital for like a week after that surgery, but now they just keep me in for like 2 days. I don't normally go on medication anymore because it doesn't hurt, because it's on my head, so it's not really sore, because like my head is like numb up here. Like I can't feel, like if you push on my head, like I can feel like a wee tiny bit of like pressure, but like that's it, like I can't feel it. So I'm now going in with eyeshadow. I'm using the Sosu X, I can never say her name, palette. She's from down south, I know that much. The Urban Bible. And then I'm using the Violet Voss Pro Eyeshadow HD Pro. I haven't used this in ages. It was actually Rachel, because she had it. She started using it one night when she was getting ready at my house for a night out, and I was like, oh my word, I actually completely forgot about that palette. So I was like, I need to start using it again, because the colours actually are, I'll show you, the colours actually are really nice in it. Like they're all very like warm toned colours. And this is what this palette looks like. So it's got like the nice browns that I would use. So the next question is, you mentioned that there was a scar on your stomach. Is that from your brain surgery? Yes, it was. That is from the very first time. Like I said, they haven't actually like went into that scar ever since the first time. Which is good, obviously, because it was really painful afterwards. And like I struggled to move. Obviously I was in hospital for a week after the first time. But it wasn't like great. It was really uncomfortable, really painful. Like I couldn't turn. If I wanted to like lie on one side, I couldn't. Like I had to either lie on my back or like try and turn like this half of my body and try not to move my stomach as much as I could. But yes, that scar is from my brain surgery, because that's where the tube goes down to. So the next question is, did you wake up not remembering anything? Yeah, basically the very first time I remember everything. Like I remember going into the surgery. I remember before obviously they put me like, made me unconscious sort of thing. I actually remember that my surgeons, this is not in a racist way, my surgeons were all Chinese. But this time around, like I had doctors that were obviously from here. But like that's one of the memories I have from like before they put me in and stuff. They brought me into the surgeon room. They brought me into the room where they were going to do the surgery and stuff, and I was like, I noticed that like 90% of them were Chinese. Like that's one memory I have for some reason, and I don't mean that in a pure racist way, it's just the truth. But yeah, so I remember that before. and I remember obviously I woke up and stuff, and then the second and third time I don't remember anything until I woke up in hospital. And obviously because of COVID, nobody was in the hospital with me when I woke up, which was even scarier. So I woke up and I called my mum and I was like, "Mum, why the flip am I in hospital?" And she was like, "Oh, you've had your surgery again." So I was like, "Oh, right, okay." And then the third time was the same, obviously. No one could have been in with me and I don't remember anything before it. So it was scary as well, not going to lie. It was pretty terrifying just waking up in a hospital bed and not knowing why you were there or what the flip was going on, because I literally could have been there for any reason and I wouldn't have known. Do you know what I mean? It's scary. Okay, so that's literally the eyeshadow I do. I only use 2 colours, and well, I actually used 3 colours. I mixed 2 of them together and they were all from the Violet Voss palette. I didn't even use the Urban Bible palette. But now I'm going in with the e.l.f. Mineral Infused Face Primer. This is so nice and it makes your foundation like a lot, like when you apply your foundation and blend it out and stuff, sometimes it can be a wee bit rough, but it's like nice and smooth obviously with this. And it doesn't make your face all matte, which is what I hate, because obviously my skin is quite dry, so I don't really need my foundation to be made matte, do you know what I mean? So this I actually bought because it said illuminating on the wee thing, so I was like, that'll do me rightly so well. So yeah, I think these are only a couple of pounds. I think these were like £6 maybe, and I got mine in Boots. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was £6. Maybe it was 8, I'm not too sure. Okay, and now going in with my foundation, I use the Maybelline Superstay in 36 Warm Sun. This is the 24-hour foundation. Love this foundation. It's my favourite one, 100%. So the next question is, did you have to get your head shaved for your surgery? Yes, I did. I will actually insert photos of what my head looks like now. Before I do, I pre-warn you, it is a big cut on my head, so if you don't like seeing stuff like that freaks you out, then I would maybe just like skip the video on a wee bit. But yes, I'll insert the photo here of what my head looks like at the minute. The very first time, which I'll insert a photo of here, you can see how small my scar is because it's compared to a nurse's finger that's only like this size. But the most recent one, my scar is like that size. It's pure huge. So they obviously had to make it bigger this time around, which isn't great, but you know, saved my life, so I can't really complain, can I? But yes, every single time I've had my surgery, I've had to get my head shaved. It was a wee bit annoying because, so after the first time, it was like a year and a bit since I had the surgery before I obviously had to go in for the second one. So when they shaved my head, my hair beforehand was literally down to like here, and it was finally long enough that it went up in a ponytail, which I was so happy about. And then they shaved it and it went straight back to being short again. And then back in April, obviously to now, it grew out again, and it wasn't long enough to go in a ponytail, but it still was getting longer. Like you could see it. If I wore my hair up, it was just this big bit of hair pure hanging down here that wouldn't go up in my ponytail. But now it's right back to being shaved again. I've got a fresh fade, as some would say. Yeah, I've got like a wee ski in the back of my head, kind of. So next I'm going in with my 2 concealers. Yes, I use 2 concealers. So I go in with the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 05, and then I go in with my Revolution concealer again in the shade C2. I just use these because this one's more for coverage and this one's more for highlighting, if you know what I mean. Like it's a lot lighter than this one. And also I think this one oxidizes quite a bit. They both actually do oxidize. Like if you could tell me one concealer that doesn't, honestly let me know please, because I need to find one. So the next question is, why did it take so long for it to be figured out the first time? So obviously, as I said, my mum took me to a pilot doctor, so did my dad, which is mainly the GP, and we've actually moved GP since then for this reason. But yeah, they kind of just blamed it all on my pill. Like everything that happened, everything that was going on, we were telling the doctor each time we went, and they were like, "Oh, it's just the pill, we'll change your pill, maybe she's just reacting badly to this one." And my mum was like, "No, it's not." She was like, "Look deeper, this is not the situation." So my sister actually works in a private hospital, so she got us an appointment with a private doctor, and then we went up for a CT scan in Antrim, I think, the very first time. And this was before the appointment with the private doctor. So we got the CT scan and all the results back, and that's when they kind of realised, like, oh my word, she should be dead, the amount of fluid that's in her head basically. So mum and I actually went in for a checkup a few months, I think, afterwards, after the surgery. Just like a wee checkup to see like if I was still doing okay, and like if I had any like reaction or anything to it, I'm guessing, but I was just basically seeing if I was okay after the surgery, and obviously I was fine. And whilst we were actually there, the doctor showed us my CT scan from the very first time, and basically your brain looks like that. Obviously it's like a wee like circle, but it has like a wee dip in it, and he showed us the photo and there was like just this big thing covering it, and there was like only like this much not being covered, and my mum was like, what is that? And he was like, oh, that's the amount of fluid that was in her head. And I was like, are you joking? Like, that's like nearly all of my brain covered. And he was like, yeah, that's how serious, like that's how much fluid like actually was in your head. And I was like, that is just lovely news. So literally, if they hadn't figured that out, I could have been dead because of the amount of fluid in my head, which is absolutely crazy. So I'm now going in with powder. I use the Airspun Powder in Translucent. I basically just powder everywhere that I've just concealed, including my forehead, because I have like the liniest forehead you'll ever see in your life. Liney obviously isn't the word. Creasiest. I have the creasiest. I don't know, my forehead creases like crazy. I have so many lines in my head, so like if I raise my eyebrows like a wee tiny bit, you'll just see, like you should see when I fully raise my eyebrows, which I'm not going to do because it'll just create lines in my foundation, and we don't want that. But yeah, so I just basically powder everywhere concealed, and then also on my forehead. So the next question is, what were your symptoms of the surgery? So the past couple of times it was mostly just that I was sleeping loads. Well, from what I was told, obviously I was like completely out of it, so I hadn't a clue what was going on. I did obviously collapse, like I fell in the middle of my bathroom when everyone else was like fast asleep, and I woke everybody up, that's how loud it was, and I hit like our like tin bin and made a dent in it, as like I said. So that was obviously things that happened. And then the past couple of times I've just been sleeping like crazy. Like I could sleep for like I think it was Josh's mum who told me that I slept for like 2 days in a row, and I think I only woke up for like a short period of time and then went straight back to sleep again, which is flipping crazy, mad. Okay, so next I'm going in with bronzer. I use the Maybelline New York City bronzer in the shade Deep Cool 300. Love this bronzer, it's my favourite one I've ever used. The lid always falls off them though, like me and my mum both use it, and like the lids always fall off them. But yeah, it's like such a warm tone bronzer, even though it's called Deep Cool. But I love it so much. I use it just where I cream contoured, and then I also put it on my nose just so that it's not just pure white in the middle of my face. Yeah, so my symptoms the first time, I don't actually think I've talked about this before. I might have talked about it in like my first video I filmed of this, when I was like explaining obviously it all, but like I was still half out of it, let's be honest, because if you've watched that video, which I recommend you don't because it is not a good look for me. Yeah, so my other symptoms, like the first time, which is obviously the ones I remember, is that I had like no balance whatsoever. So the tech that I actually used to go to was on like a hill. I went to Balmoney Tech, and it was on like a slant like this to get to the train station, which obviously I had to get the train home. And every time I walked down that hill, I'd start full pelt running, and I couldn't stop myself running, so I would just fall. Like I couldn't stop myself until I fell. Not very nice to say the least. I was left with cuts and bruises everywhere. I remember there was actually a day that I fell. I started running down from my tech, and I like dropped onto the floor, and some man had to shout over and ask me if I was okay, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine. But when I did fall, I couldn't get myself back up again. Like for some reason, I don't know why, like I think it's just because my body had just like basically given up, so I couldn't like lift myself up. So like the amount of times I had to get like people to help me, like who I was like walking with, or like Clara and me used to always take the dogs to walk, and like near where we live, and she used to have to, if it happened there, which it did, she would have to like try and like pull me up. So that happened, like I fell a pile of times. I lost a crap ton of my memory. Like if you had walked up to me and told me something and then walked away and came back 2 seconds later and asked me what it was, I would tell you I wouldn't know, because I literally wouldn't. Like I would have completely forgot because my memory was so bad. So I'm now going to go in with a Primark blush in the shade Carnival, and this is a seriously pink blush, as you can see. Like, oh my word, look at the pure colour of it. So may I just say, the first time I used this, I went like this here, and it went just pink, and I was like, oh my word. So I literally take a wee tiny bit of it and then like dust it off, and then just apply it. And like even when you do apply a wee bit, you can see there's still like quite a lot there. Yeah, so there was literally days when I was like getting ready for tech and stuff, and I would be sitting on my bed trying to get ready, and like I would just fall back. Like I would be sitting down and I just completely fall back and I couldn't like get up again. I remember there was a day that I was literally lying naked on my bed. Like, this is obviously quite embarrassing, but it's happened now, like it's done with now, so I can share it with you. I was like sitting on my bed and I'd fallen back, and my mum came in and like started shouting at me to get ready for TIK, and I was just lying there like I couldn't care less. I was just lying there naked. I couldn't get up to get ready. Like, I was just lying there like, I don't care, like I don't want to go. So yeah, those were like most of like, those were like the main side effects that happened. I also fell walking across a straight road. Don't ask me how. It was me and Clara walking across, because obviously Clara lives quite near me, so she does. So I think we were having like a barbecue or something at her house, and I had walked over here to get changed and she had walked with me. I'm now going in with the MAC highlighter in the shade Global Glow, by the way. And when we were walking back, I was walking across the road in a pair of sliders, and I don't know if it was because I was wearing sliders, but I literally just tripped and fell and busted my whole chin. I'll insert a photo here of it. Like, I busted my whole chin and I busted my knee, like completely cut it. So yeah, it was quite a scary year, like 6 months more. I'm now going in with the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara in the shade Brunette, and I also just take off whatever foundation is on my lips. And then I also just take that same makeup wipe and then just like brush over my eyebrows to get rid of any like makeup that's in it. Like, look at the difference, how like faded that one looks compared to the faded. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like powder and stuff in it, so it's just to get like the top layer of powder that's in it, obviously out of my eyebrows. And then I just go in with my brow mascara. So I was in Valencia with like my dad's side of the family, like all the girls. We went on like a girly holiday, and at like 6 o'clock in the morning I walked downstairs to go outside, because I can't remember who was up. I think it was like my aunt's friend or something. She came with us as well, like 2 of them came with us. And I went outside to go outside, and I walked straight into like a clear like slidey like patio door, and I walked like straight into it and I dropped. Everyone thought I was concussed. They were like, oh my word, Nicola, don't be going to sleep. Of course I walked over the sofa and fell straight asleep. Like, yeah, so like the main thing that happened was mostly me falling, and I gained quite a lot of weight over those 6 months. I was going out with Josh during some of the period of those 6 months, and we did break up, and then we got back together, and then we broke up like for like after a week of being together again, I think it was. And obviously it was on my part both times, it wasn't on his. It's because I genuinely I wasn't in a like state of mind to be in a relationship, like, do you know what I mean? I'm now going in with the Maybelline New York Sky High Mascara. This mascara is lethal, but I have to use the roller lash lid like wand, because I don't like the wand that comes with this. So what I told Josh whenever we broke up is one thing that I actually stand by. I told him that I need to love myself before I love someone else, which is so true, because I didn't love myself whatsoever. I hated myself. Obviously now I literally have a tattoo on my hip saying like, love yourself, because I think it's the most important thing in the world, honestly. Like, you don't understand how much you really do need to love yourself until you completely don't. Like, you've lost it all, do you know what I mean? But like, now I post photos of myself 24/7, and like people are probably like, oh my word, Nicola, she's so up herself, like she's so in love with herself and all this, but like, I couldn't care less. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if people think I'm up myself. I don't care if people think I'm showing off, because you know what? I'm not trying to show off. I'm not trying to be up myself, but yes, I'll admit I am in love with myself. After not being in love with myself for so long, like not loving myself whatsoever, like literally hating myself, I'm proud to say I love myself now. This is getting very deep, but like, I just wanted to make that clear. Like, I don't know why I just cut my eyelashes when I'm about to put eyelashes on. Okay, so I've just realised that I've just cut my eyelashes because I wasn't focusing on what I was doing, and I'm meant to be putting eyelashes on, but I can't wear eyelashes if I've just cut my lashes, because they don't like go on properly, they don't stay on. So I might just put on mascara. I'll put on mascara now and see how it looks, but if I don't like it, then I'll put like eyelashes on. But I'm going out for dinner on a Sunday, no one's going to be there, so I don't really care about wearing lashes, do you know what I mean? So the final question in this video is actually, how did you end up losing the weight so fast? So before I obviously had that surgery and had everything going on with me, before I also got diagnosed with PCOS, which if you don't know that is, it's polycystic ovary syndrome. It's basically where this is your ovaries, you're meant to have one wee ball in it. I've got tons because it's just all like clogged by cysts in your ovaries, polycystic ovaries. So yeah, I had gained weight from that partly, and also because obviously if everything was going on in my head, I had so much fluid, so my face had gained so much weight as well. I went from a size 4 to a 12/14, which I'm not saying that's fat. It's just, it's a drastic change from going from a 4 to a bigger size so quickly, if you know what I mean. I'm not in any way saying that that's fat or anything. I'm just saying from someone who was a size 4 went to 12/14, that is crazy, I think. Like, it's mad. And in the space of what, 6 months? Blows my mind. Yes, so I had an extremely fast metabolism, and when I started obviously taking the pill because of my polycystic ovary syndrome, you have to take the pill in order to get a period, because I didn't have a period until I was 17 or 16, was it? And I remember telling my mum, I was like, Mum, something's not right here. So she took me to a private GP, and they were like, okay, so they had to do like an x-ray inside of my area. So I had to get like a camera put up, and like they had to do like an x-ray basically of like my inside, and they figured out I had polycystic ovary, so I had to be put on the pill for that, so in order for me to get a period. So if you do ever feel like researching PCOS, you do actually gain weight from it. So I was gaining weight from it, and also my head being really bad as well, like all the fluid. So it wasn't very good, safe to say. Also, I don't think I'm gonna put lashes on. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this. I think that looks fine. I'm now gonna go in with the Max Factor Honey Liqueur, and this is in the shade Honey Nude. And this is just like a wee lip gloss. It's like a wee bit nudie pink. So as I was saying, going from like a size 4 to 12/14 was a drastic change for me, and it did take me by obviously shock and surprise. And that was from mostly being on the pill and also being diagnosed with my polycystic ovaries thing. Also, I was eating like crazy. Like, I was eating takeaways left, right and centre. And then obviously everything going on in my head as well. So I kind of just gained quite a bit of weight in 6 months. So after my surgery, I think my metabolism kind of kicked in, because I had a really fast metabolism before that, which I was like literally a twig before everything started happening. Like, until I was like 16, like I had no boobs and everything, because obviously I wasn't on my pill, so I hadn't fully went through puberty yet, because I hadn't had a period before. So yeah, I think my fast metabolism kind of kicked in, and it kind of like just dropped the weight. Like, I dropped that weight so fast. And then also that I was going to the gym and I was running on a treadmill steady. Like, I spent the majority of my time in the gym running, while Josh was doing an actual like arm and leg workout, whatever. Like, I was running on a treadmill. Like, that's how I think I burnt my weight so quickly. Like, I was 24/7 in the gym. Obviously, I'm not saying to do that. That's not a healthy way to do it. Like, I was doing it in a way that like I wasn't even eating as much either. Like, I think my stomach kind of shrunk as well, because I wasn't eating as much, because I went from eating takeaways all the time and junk food all the time. And surprisingly enough, I actually couldn't eat the stuff that I had ate before my surgery. Like, I can't eat like mini rolls and stuff now, and like Ben & Jerry's ice cream, can't eat it anymore because I ate it 24/7 before as well. So it's really strange, like some of the things that I can't eat now, but like I literally just dropped that weight from being in the gym so much, and also because my fast metabolism just kicked in. Okay, so guys, that is everything for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Here is the makeup look for this evening. Not very exciting. I'm not very good at makeup, so this is like the height of what you can get. So you're just gonna have to deal with that. So yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I did enjoy filming this and answering your questions, because I do know that some people were genuinely curious as to what was going on. So I hope that did answer the questions that you were wanting to know the answers to. But other than that, yes, I'm going to go out for dinner now because I'm so flipping hungry, and plus George is treating me tonight, so I'm very excited. But yes, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to follow all my social medias at the start of the video and link down below. I love you all. Have a great night when I was watching this. I love you. Mwah! Peace out.